thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to speak to you and see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too. Thank you for having me.
The last time we spoke was just as YNR was about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. So that was, I guess, early last year. Um,
Yeah.
what was that experience like having, everyone revisit the show's rich history?
Gosh, for the 50th anniversary? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
We got a
incredible.
visit from Shamar Moore came back as Malcolm, and Veronica Red came back, and she stayed actually around as Aunt Mamie for a bit.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it was incredible. I think it was the best thing for the fans. The show did a great job at revisiting quite a bit of history, not just from the Winters family, but across the board. Um, Also, the best part for me was having my mom come back. Actually, having Shanae come back who
Yeah.
played Rhonda. That was a huge surprise that they ended up pulling off. And I was so happy to see her.
That's great. And you guys were able to recreate that family dynamic with Trevor St. John in the role of Tucker now.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah.
good. Now, Aunt Mamie stayed around. Devon, I like that he actually refers to her as Aunt Mamie. He's showing that respect. Lily's dropped the aunt. Is that something that you've kept in yourself?
Uh, no, I don't think that I don't think that Crystal's dropped it on purpose. I think sometimes there's so many Mamies or we say each other's names so often that it might just, I've seen the fans respond to that, and I honestly don't believe she's doing it consciously
Okay.
or
All right,
making
good.
a choice to be disrespectful to her at all. Um, but yeah, and same goes with me. I think it's just, uh, yeah, there's not that much thought put into it, to be honest.
But you're actually involved in the social media aspect of it, and it creates a different layer. And does it at any time make you self-conscious or feel like, oh, I need to maybe say this a certain way?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, it definitely makes you pay attention to it because we do it for the fans, and this is social media is such an amazing outlet to fans to immediately tell you how they feel about something. Um, but no, I mean, I all I care about is that people believe what I'm doing, whether they like me or like what I'm doing, or they like the character, his choices at that moment, they're rooting for him or they're mad at him. It really doesn't matter to me as long as they are engaged and they believe whatever's happening.
Okay. And it's your 20th anniversary on the show. How does that
Yeah,
feel?
that's incredible. I never would have imagined that. First, hell, my first day, my first audition, I never imagined I'd get the part because I was a kid. I was 17, and all I knew was soap operas. Was my mom watched General Hospital every day when I was growing up, and all these crazy storylines going on in adult things. I never thought that they'd even want me there. But um, no, I mean to be a part for 20 years and to know that the show values me and what I do, and the fans still appreciate the character, it means the world to me. It's a privilege and an honor to be a part of, especially a legacy like The Young and the Restless, and what the Bells have created over half a century of entertainment, and we've been number one for gosh, I've lost count now how many years, and
Good feeling,
it's
right?
exceptional.
Uh, Devon's been through so much. He's been through the ringer. Started off with the foster care storyline, which we've discussed in the past. His hearing loss, discovering his biological parents, discovering Catherine Chancellor was his grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
incredible.
and I
That's
think
another one. That's another twist that I really never saw coming. I mean, Devon he started off sleeping on the floor of Victor Newman's office at the rec center, um, to now being the other billionaire in town is it's
in
insane. I've had two lives. Literally, we have two lives that we all live on the show. And there's so much that we've done that I even forget that fans remind me about that. Um, but that's one of the best parts of it is that you get to not only do things that you'd never do in your real life, and but you get to have double the experiences, and the people, the cast, we see them more than we see our real family, so they are my family, And yeah, it's an experience that's unique to daytime that I wouldn't trade for anything.
And when you started as Devon, they really, put you right in, and pardon the pun if you remember it, but the lion's den, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Not other than an actual lion. You were, Victoria Rowell, Kristoff St. John,
Uh,
Eric Braeden, Shamar Moore. You were front and center with these heavyweights. Was that intimidating at all, or you must have learned so much from them?
the latter, yeah. I looked at it as I looked at it as I mean I haven't taken a class before, like an acting class, but that was it. I've have You couldn't ask for a better one. Even Crystal. I mean, from day one, Crystal to know, and she's a couple years younger than me, but there was to me there was no difference. There, she was on their level, and they were on, and I felt I definitely felt the immediate pressure to grow and get better very quick. And but I had the best teachers in the world, and they made the experience feel uh, extremely safe and warm and in particular Kristoff, that's the best thing about him is how he'd make you feel about doing a great job. And really everybody. I mean, everybody on the show they champion each other, and when you shine, they shine. The whole scene does, and um, um, even though I mean I even still feel like the young one there. I still feel like the new guy because there's people who've been out for 40 plus years, and I still feel like I'm trying to prove myself every time I go to work. So that's definitely never gone away. But you're right, yeah, it definitely was there in the beginning. Um, but I still feel the same pressure, I think, every day.
Okay. Now, a new set that the show has after the 50th was the Jazz Lounge downstairs of the athletic club,
Yeah.
um, dedicated to Neil Winters. Do you feel Christoph's presence still on that stage?
Oh, of course, yeah, every day. I mean, that's his pictures are on all of our sets, and I mean, I'm in his dressing room. I have his dressing room, so yeah, I every single time I step onto that stage, I you know say hello to him. I know he's there with us. I tell everybody that the experience of losing him was so wild because we all went to his real funeral a couple weeks before we filmed Neil's funeral, and it didn't. No one really was hit by it at his real one. We didn't. The emotions weren't there. It didn't seem real. And then when we got to set to film a couple weeks later, that Neil's funeral, that we all they hit us because that's where we live with them. That's home with Kristoff, and um, so yeah, I mean it's a massive loss that we think about every single day, but he's with us.
I think it's
So
really comforting when we see his portrait and you guys are all in that room. I think it helps the viewers too, who
absolutely,
feel that loss because they watched him for so many years, right?
yeah, absolutely, he's family to people.
And from that set to the Chancellor Mansion set, last time you spoke, you mentioned that you'd love for Devon to move into the Chancellor Mansion, which I believe he and Abby have, but we haven't really seen that yet. Are we gonna finally see Devon where he belongs?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. No, we've only seen it just a little bit. I mean, I was not only I wanted to do that, and I wanted to get with Abby too, and that happened. And it's been amazing. That's also something I never really thought they would do because we would tease Melissa and I would tell the writers all the time. We'd ask them if they do it, and they would say no, literally say no to us, and then it ended up happening. So yeah, I think the natural progression of Devon's and Abby's story, you're going to see, more of their relationship blossom and and see a little more home life. It's
Okay.
been so much business, so much office, stuff lately that I think they're going to start focusing that other direction soon.
Are they
Hopefully.
gonna clue into what's going on with Ashley and maybe for what's happening there and Tucker's connection to that?
I imagine so. I hope so. I know Abby's kind of been on the outside, out of the loop on the whole thing, and she hasn't been really happy about that. But I know it's story related. But yeah, I mean, I imagine so. I don't really know where that's going to go, but I
Okay.
hope so. I hope the resolution of that comes. It's a really great story.
And we'll see more of the workplace action, I guess, for the next little while.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's got to be some kind of resolution with with this power struggle between Devon and Billy and just the whole Chancellor Winters dynamic with Jill giving Billy power without telling anybody. It's
Now you've been in the soap industry for 20 years and you've seen so many changes, but I feel like a lot of it's a very exciting time, I think, for the genre with, Y&R's recent renewal. CBS is reinvesting in the daytime soap. They're launching The Gates, that'll, focus on a black family from the start, which I don't think anyone actually thought we'd actually, see again. What's your take on that? For as far as representation goes in
I mean
daytime.
it's I think it's fantastic. I think that you know any form of representation is important. I think that for the daytime community in general and the genre, it's a great thing. It says that we're strong. A lot of people have thought and been afraid over the years, especially losing soaps left and right. A while back when I started, I think there were eight. And so there was a period of time where we were all a little nervous about the medium, but I mean, yeah, it's clearly showing and proving that we're not going anywhere, which is it's a good feeling. It shows that the fans are engaged. They still care about the stories, um CBS is in particular. I felt, especially since I've gotten on the show, they've always been the leaders in inclusion and telling diverse stories, inclusive stories. So I'm not surprised that they're taking this leap with this new show coming up with the Gates. I think it's gonna be great.
I know it's a bit premature to talk about it, but would you be open to, guest starring when it begins, kind of crossing
Of
over
course,
and yeah, set up a connection?
it's CBS. It's CBS family, of course. I actually would. Yeah. I mean, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
All right. Now, we yeah, Devon had a visit from Yolanda. I think a lot of fans would love to see Anna return. I think what they did to
Ooh.
Lauren Mott was just so sad. Like, there's no material to write for this beautiful woman. Like, come on. Would you love to see her again? Are there any other characters from Devon's past that you'd like to see come back?
Absolutely, I'd love to see Anna, Lauren Lott. I mean, she's one of the most talented people I know. I hope, I want her to have her own show, honestly. Um, but yeah, I would love to have her back. I'd love to have Shanae back. Um, I would love to have Victoria Rao back. I'd love for them to find Drew's body somewhere. I know that she's not. She's alive.
I was
uh,
had a theory that like maybe Aunt Mimi, used some of her millions to keep Drew alive somewhere on some, you know.
anything could happen. Clearly, we've seen people get shot before and then come back. Um, but yeah, yeah, I would love that. I think that especially now that, well, I hope that Devon gets to take his company and take it in the direction he wants to go and not have to battle with the chancellors much longer. Not the chancellors, but with the abbots much longer, with the chancellor company. Um, and yeah, maybe having Anna back would be great to get more focus more on the music aspect of the Winters Company. And because I remember, I miss that. I miss being in the recording studios and having those sets up. It was fun.
All right. Um, Out of all Weiner's famous plots, is there one that you wish Devon could have been a part of?
Of all of Winners. Ah, it's a good question because I like all of my plots. So when I'm trying to think of somebody else's, there was that big explosion years ago at some place that they blew up. They built a whole nother set for it, and they had this building collapse. And I wanted to be a part of that story, but then when I heard how the shooting went and how difficult it was to get through, I was like, I'm fine. I'm
Was
glad I
that the
didn't show
underground or was that the spa, like the Newman, like that Victor?
Towers. Was it Newman Towers or something?
They had like a spa, yeah. It's like a number of years ago. Yeah.
Or it might have
Okay.
been the underground.
Yeah. So basically an explosion. You'd
An
love to.
explosion, something
Okay.
exciting, you know.
Yeah.
Nah, because I was a part of the plane crash.
You
Hell,
were, yes.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know. Nah, I think I'm happy with my storylines. I don't think there's any ones that,
Yeah.
you know, all I can think of are famous weddings. That's all that
Yeah.
comes to mind when I think of, and Devon's only had two, one in a hospital bed.
Right. And that was like the saddest.
That was the saddest because she died later that day.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, you miss working with Michelle
Oh
Morgan.
yeah, oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, she was a gem. She's was a great friend and um, amazing actress, and yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's really something special that they were able to capture and do it twice with her coming back as Hillary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good. I think
Yeah.
the way they invested in the storytelling of that relationship really did it did a great job for the fans, and I hope that we get that same kind of investment eventually with Devon and Abby. I think the fans will start rooting for us just like they did for Devon and Hillary.
I think like stuff has to happen to them for us to
Yeah, you
root.
got to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see
All
us
right.
go
Yeah.
through stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let
you
put
got to
them
see.
through it. It's time. Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, if there was a different character, YNR character that you could play just for a day,
Mhm.
what that was like, is there anyone?
Yeah, everybody says Victor because you get to you get to do exactly what you want, any way you want, and you automatically have this, respect and slash fear with everybody that you step in a room with, and that's just a fun thing to play.
And last one, what are you watching? Like, are there any good shows that you've recently binged that you could recommend to our
I don't
listeners?
watch news. It's really hard for me to watch news shows. I've been watching The Office for the third time again. Um, I watch comedy. I love watching stand-up comedy.
Awesome.
Um, so Nikki Glaser has a new one. It's funny. I'm a big Tom Segura, Nick Bargatze, any
Awesome.
good stand-ups.
Perfect. Thank you so
Good
much
stuff.
for those recommendations and thank you so much for speaking with me. Happy 20th anniversary on YNR.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.